And in the first panel, we had all persons with disabilities. Now, kitu tunaita SDGs ni nini? Ilianza lini? Mumekuwa mkifanya nini? Mambo ya SDGs for, with and by persons with disabilities. Hii nitarusha by CSOs. Government nitakuja kwenu. Sawa? So tuanze hapa shofo.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Eastside. Tumekunywa chai, tuko sawa? Okay, my name is Maggie Adhiambo and I work for SHOFCO, Shining Hope for Community. And what I'd love to say first is that SHOFCO, we have like 7 programs. And all those programs, we are very inclusive. We include all the minorities, all the persons that have been wamewachwa nje kidogo. We are very inclusive. The elderly, PWDs, refugees, migrants, all those to include in all our programs. And I work for gender department. Definitely we are there to ensure that everybody is getting justice. Anybody who's been violated in one way or another, they're getting justice. People also getting information, education when it comes to issues of GBV, what they can do, where they can get support, the systems, the referral pathways, aspects of safe shelter. And also SHOFCO, we have a safe shelter for all persons, not excluding persons living with disability. So when we talk about the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, we have because today we're talking about persons with disability. We'll just say I think the Sustainable Development Goals that cut across are 1, we have 1 which is poverty, ending poverty. 2 is hunger, ending hunger. 3 is aspect of good health and well-being of all persons, and especially when we talk about all persons, we need to be inclusive, all persons. We have 4, which is about education, equal opportunities of education to everyone.
Mentioning all of them.
Yes.
Which of these SDGs as SHOFCO are you working on?
We are working on, like in SHOFCO, we are doing 1 to 10, and also the last one, which is partnership, we also do it so very much. So I was mentioning the ones that just cut across. Aspect of health, education, we have the other one, equal rights, we have decent workplaces. So at the end of the day, we need to be inclusive. Aspect of intersectionality. Inclusivity is very important. Because persons living with disability, people also have the rights to proper education, rights to, when it comes to social, they need to not to be discriminated. Socially, everybody should be, include them. When it comes to political aspect, their interests should be looked into also, when it comes to economic and all that. And we find that mostly they are left out. And that's why we are forced to ensure that when you're looking at the SDG 17, we talk about partnership. We need to come together. And let's get out of the issue of PRs, just saying we do this to support persons living with disability, when it comes to getting justice, when it comes to economic empowerment, when it comes to all those aspects. And let's come together, unite, and ensure that things are working. Because we have so many people here, we are a powerful force. We are a powerful force, and if we come together, we can really ensure that persons living with disability get all that they are entitled to get from all spheres, be it social, be it economic, be it all those spheres, they get them. And also when it comes to them having as maybe an environment that is free from barriers, the aspect of the devices, we can come up and ensure that they are living comfortably. They are also included in the working places, and they're also included in all spheres. Thank you.
Thank you so much. June, mnafanya nini mambo ya SDGs na persons with disabilities?
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Maggie. For the Action Foundation, our work centers around supporting health and education outcomes for children, women, and girls with disabilities. And our focus in terms of the SDGs is usually health, education, gender equality, and to a large extent, a lot of collaboration, so partnering, so that you're able to achieve the SDGs. So for us, why that is powerful is because historically, when we started SDGs before were called Millennium Development Goals, and we got to a point where we realized we have reached the 8th millennium, and we still have a very huge proportion of society that has not yet been reached. And so when it changed to the SDGs, I think there was a lot more focus and intentionality around supporting marginalized communities, supporting persons with disabilities. At least there's some mentions of us in certain places that says we want that by the end of the next century, by 2030, that we're having inclusive communities. So for me, it's an approach that says we can all thrive together, and how do we support even persons with disabilities to be part of that thriving and to create solutions to thrive.
Okay, thank you so much. Short and sweet. Harold, pass it to Aaron. I'll come to you, Waheshimiwa.
Asante sana Dr. Sarah. Kwa majina naitwa Aaron Green Okoth. Nafanya na shirika la kijamii ambalo naitwa Amani Kibera. Ofisi yetu iko pale Lindi. Nitaongea kwa Kiswahili. Nafurahia sana kwamba tumepata siku ya leo, siku ya wale ambao wanaishi na ulemavu wa aina yoyote. Na siku yetu ya leo inaongea ama inaangazia kuungana pamoja na kufidia maendeleo endelevu pale mtaani. SDG kwa Kiswahili ndio nimesema maendeleo endelevu. Kwangu mimi kama mwanaharakati wa maendeleo endelevu, ni jukumu langu na pia Amani Kibera kuhamasisha jamii na vikundi vya kijamii, hasa wale ambao wako na ulemavu, waweze kujua maendeleo endelevu ni nini. What is SDGs? SDGs are international development framework that guides development work and scope. Kumaanisha maendeleo endelevu ni fursa moja ambayo inatupatia mwongozo jinsi tunavyofanya kazi zetu za kimiradi pale kijijini. Ya kwanza ambayo tutaongelelea kuhusu mada ya hii siku, action to unite to rescue the SDG. I say, ama mimi nasema kwamba SDG sababu ni hiyo mwongozo ya maendeleo iko na mbinu na fursa kubwa sana kwa wale ambao wanaishi na ulemavu wa njia yoyote. Kwa nini? Sababu imetoa malengo yake ama mtazamo ya kuangalia ulemavu ama wale ambao wanaishi na ulemavu kama watu wa kupewa. Miaka mingi mtu ako na ulemavu yoyote anaangaliwa kama mtu wa kupewa, hana ujuzi yoyote, hahusishwi na maoni yake, haipewi ile mtazamo ambao anatakikana. SDG, maendeleo endelevu, imebadilisha hiyo. Mwenzangu amesema Millennium Development Goals haikuwa imepatia kazi ya ulemavu na wale walemavu nguvu, lakini SDG imeleta ile nafasi ya kuhusisha kwa maendeleo kwa njia haki ya kibinadamu, the rights approach, kwamba mtu mlemavu anafaa kuhusishwa katika zile meza, katika nafasi kama hizi, kuweza kuongea mambo ya maendeleo vile ambao inawahusisha ama inabadilisha maisha yake kwa njia gani.
Asante Aaron. Now kama Amani Kibera, ni gani muna wako?
Amani Kibera iko na nguzo 4. La kwanza ni mambo ya kimazingira ambao tunaangalia haki ambao matukio ama climate change inaleta katika maisha yetu. So environment is key, na hiyo iko na malengo tofauti, the several goals, na hizi pia zinagusa wale ambao wako na ulemavu. Ya tatu tuko na nguzo ya elimu ambao pale chini tuko na maktaba, na hii maktaba tunajaribu kuwa ikuwe ile maktaba ambao wale ambao wako na ulemavu tofauti wanaweza kuja wakasoma bila kukuwa na kikwazo yoyote. Mbinu yetu kubwa ya kufanya kazi huku kijijini ni kutumia michezo. We are a sports for development and peace organization. Tuna kuwa na miradi ama shughuli ambazo zinaleta watu pamoja kupitia michezo, na pia tunaomba wale ambao wako na ulemavu tofauti waweze kuchagua na kujua ni mchezo gani ambao wanaweza husika nayo. Na sasa tukifanya hizi miradi za michezo, huwa tunapenda sana wale ambao wako na ulemavu pia wapewe fursa yao, wakuje wajiunge na sisi na wajiunge na wenzao na jamii waweze kukua pale.
Asante sana. Leaving no one behind.
Ndio hiyo vile umesema, hakuna yule ambaye anaachwa nyuma. Asante.
Haya, pia Madam Janet. Kwa kwako Madam Janet. Actually hapa tuko ni kwako.
Kabisa.
Asante kwa kutukaribisha.
Asante sana.
Tuambie unafanya nini kama Paulo's Home kuachieve these SDGs? Ni SDGs gani you are working on?
Basically Paulo's Home vile tumesema ama vile mwanzo tulianzia kuangazia hasa tunadili na mambo ya health. So in health specifically in different aspects. Unapata ya kuwa watoto, kwa sababu tulisema kwamba tunahusika na watoto ambao wako na ulemavu na tunapia fanya empowerment programs za wazazi. So kwanza ama the primary goal ni aspect ya health, and then number 2 elimu. Lakini katika hali ya kazi yetu unapata kwamba tunazingatia ama tunaweza kuguza yale malengo mengine. For example the issue of poverty, so unapata kwamba nikieleza kwa ufupi sana, the aspect of health, of course tuko na mazoezi kwa watoto wale ambao wako na ulemavu, that is physiotherapy, occupational therapy services, speech therapy na mambo kama hayo. Lakini inakuwa jambo la muhimu sana, watoto ambao wako na ulemavu unapata mara nyingi wengine they have conditions that for example they're using medication ambayo is very expensive, and at some point ya kwamba inakuwa kwamba hao wazazi ama hizo familia they are not in a position to get those medication for their children. So unapata ya kwamba apart from now the therapy aspect, kuna hiyo aspect ya medication ambapo unapata ya kwamba labda hakuna even the family is not in a position to get maybe funds to get this medication. Na unapata kwamba huyu mtoto anafaa kutumia dawa hizi maybe kwa lifetime yake yote, So hiyo aspect inakuwa ni muhimu sana. So kwetu there is the aspect of mazoezi, lakini aspect ya kujua vile labda wale watoto ambao wanatumia dawa wanahitaji, kwa sababu bila hizo dawa inakuwa ni ya kwamba ni vigumu even the therapy watoto kuimprove. So unapata kwamba it is very key for us to see how do we support our parents, families ama our caregivers waweze kupata hiyo madawa. And then on the same we do that by definitely empowering the parents, kwa sababu mahitaji ni mengi sana. So we might not be in a position ya kwamba tutapatia kila yule mtoto maybe ambaye yuko na cerebral palsy ana converse, the medications are expensive, we are not in a position maybe kuprovidea kila mtu. So our approach inakuwa ya kwamba tunafanya empowerment to caregivers. Ikiwa tutakusupport in some way, rather to empower you with skills ambapo utajua labda kufanya kazi fulani wewe mwenyewe ndiposa uendelee kununua hizo dawa, then inakuwa muhimu. So because at the end of the day our aim is to ensure ya kwamba there is the aspect of sustainability, ya kwamba Paulo's isipokuwa leo hapa, ya kwamba wewe mzazi uko empowered enough unaendelea kufanya nini, kupata ile dawa ama yale mambo mengine. So and then there is the aspect of inclusive education, the aspect of education. Sisi tuna advocate sana mambo ya education, ya kwamba watoto waweze kuhusishwa katika hata zile shule masomo na wale wengine. Na we do this by providing training katika shule, walimu wa shule tofauti zile za public, private, we always do different trainings kwa walimu kuonyesha kwamba ni muhimu number 1 to include children with disability katika shule, or rather to promote issues in inclusive education. Where inclusive education ama hiyo elimu usishi inamaanisha kwamba nambari moja ya kwamba shule inafaa ijitayarishe. It should ensure that the environment, the infrastructure, social environment, and everything is able to accommodate that child with disability. That is more about inclusive education. Ya kwamba shule imejitayarisha kwa mambo tofauti tofauti. So we do a lot of things, but basically utapata kwamba primary key ni aspect ya health education, but katika services ambazo tuna provide tunaguza zile goals zingine. Na muhimu tunafanya pia pamoja na familia, sio kwamba sisi tunapeana, but our approach is at least to empower the parents, the caregivers, families waweze kuparticipate.
Thank you so much. An inclusive model, that is very important. Now, waheshimiwa wangu, Madam Frufena and Madam Pamela, you've heard from the CSOs, what they are doing in terms of actualizing SDGs. As governments, what do you think mumefanya, the government has taken, to actualize SDGs. I mean, wacha niseme, we are trying to track, tumefikia wapi. Sababu unajua zinapaswa kureview 2030. So tutakuwa tumeachieve hizo SDGs as Kenya, as Kenyan government, tumefika wapi?
Okay, I would say that I come from Kenya Institute of Special Education, which is based in Kasarani, exit 8 of Thika Road. And in Kise, we are mainly focused on education, and especially inclusive education and health and environment. I would say in terms of education, I would say we are not in a mourning period. Why do I say that? I'm always positive. The government have come up with different policies, including the Constitution of Kenya 2020, that says that no child should be discriminated on any basis, including a basis of disability only. We have the Disability Act, which is currently being reviewed. We have the most recent, I would say, the sector policy for learners and trainees with disability of 2018. That is currently being, it's also due for review. Unfortunately, with that sector policy, I have an issue. There was no sensitization, dissemination was not done properly, and most people don't know about that sector policy in as much as it's 5 years old and it's due for review. I also feel that so much has been done, especially in terms of government capitation. In addition to the capitation that is given to a child who is typically developing, I don't like using the child normal because it means the other one with disabilities is abnormal. The child is typically developing. So in addition to the money that is given to a child who is typically developing, there is additional 2,500 extra that is given to a child with special needs to cater for maybe other needs that the child has. We realize that also in terms of medical provision, I don't know whether we know that, but every child in secondary school, disabled or otherwise, have got a comprehensive NHIF cover. So government has done a lot. I would say we are failing in terms of inclusive education because most schools have no accessible infrastructure, and we also don't have assistive technology to be able to support these children within those inclusive settings. And even the schools that have accessible infrastructure, they are not built to standard. I see steeps, I see hills in the name of ramps, and therefore even somebody on wheelchair still cannot access them independently. I want to go to health. Kise, we carry out assessment, functional assessment of learners with special needs. And in addition to assessment, we also do therapy. We do physiotherapy, we do occupational therapy, we do speech therapy, we also do play therapy, and we do sensory integration therapy at a very subsidized price of 100 shillings, and functional assessment is absolutely free. So we are doing that. We are also advising schools and the government, of course, on accessible and usable infrastructure, because sometimes we may think it's accessible but it's not usable. So we are advising on that so that they can improve. And I would say that I believe that Wafula will bear me witness that actually there's a disability mainstreaming, which is now called disability inclusion, was retired as a PC requirement, performing contracting requirement for ministries and agencies of the government. And I think therefore, in as much as it's retired, it's still the ministry still need to give their reports in terms of achieving the different targets, and I thank God for that, because that will put them on toes so that accessibility is eventually achieved, because accessibility is the main hindrance. Of course, we also do a lot of issues to do with gender. You know, when you are disabled as a woman, you are double disabled. You are first disabled as a woman, and you have that disability, because you are double disadvantaged. That's what I want to say, not disabled. You are double disadvantaged because you are disadvantaged as a woman, you are vulnerable, and again, you are disadvantaged as a person with disability. But I also say that again, I say there's a lot of affirmative action. For me, I always tell people when a job is advertised, I apply for it. I have 35% already, 30% for women, affirmative action, and 5% for person with disability, affirmative action, and I only need to go and defend 65. So I feel there's so much that has been done, and we are not in mourning period. Even the creation of National Council for Person with Disability was a plus. We have somewhere to run to for services, and even they provide assistive devices for free, of course upon application if you are a registered person. So much has been done.
Thank you, Madam Professor. Madam Pamela.
Hello, afternoon or morning?
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Pamela Mora. I'm a social development officer, Kibra Sub-County. Now, from the government side, what I can see for persons with severe disability, because actually we deal with persons with severe disability. Why I say so, because we do registration and we do not register anybody who is having or living with a disability. We only register those who are living with severe disability. Or, okay, what I can start with, we have two different parts. Let me start with the first part. We did register, or rather replaced, persons with disability in the last few months, and these were only 10 people from Kibra. It was a replacement actually, not registration. I will come later on to registration, I mean the later part. So these people, when we do replacement or registration, there are three processes. These processes, the first process is called household listing. So for household listing, we list these people living with severe disability. After that, the next stage is called household registration. In household registration, there is a lot to be done, a lot of it. Actually, at this stage is where now we get every person who lives in that very household, their names and everything they hear, and those with the disability, we get to know the type of disability they live with, so that when it goes to the headquarters or to be, when they go through it to scrutinize, they get really, this is a genuine case that needs to be registered. Then after that is all done, there is the last stage which is called account opening. Account opening now is when all this is done, account has to be opened for these persons. Now the first stage I told you, for the first lot, we have done all the three parts. We did household listing, registration, and we've opened for them the accounts. What is remaining is now to start receiving their stipends. Okay, that one is done. Now the second one is whereby it was announced by the government that we are doing registration for both older persons and persons with severe disability. Even in our sister department, OVCs, we all did. So now, in my part now, coming to specifically to the persons with severe disability, we have done what is called household listing. That one is done not only in Kibra, it is done nationwide. We have done that. Now what is remaining there are 2 stages remaining: household registration and account opening. Now, what we are doing currently as a department, or even as a ministry, because now we are doing both. Our sister department, the children are doing, I am doing, we are all doing. We are doing what is called now correction. You see now, when we register these people, we are capturing the information using the ratchets. It's no longer on papers. We are using ratchets. Now, this information, it includes your name, ID number, your phone number, the caregiver, the phone number and the ID number of the caregiver, the name of the caregiver. Now, from this one, it goes to the headquarters, and now they have to check against the IPRS, that is integrated population, whatever, all those, to check whether the name is actually, you are the very person. So now, some information came to us against the IPRS check, which is now we have to correct. That is now where we are at the moment. We are doing corrections of the information. After we are done, then now registration will take place. After registration, then account opening will start. After account opening, then they wait for the money, that is the payment. And now the money they receive is actually 2,000 per month. There before, it used to be paid by annually, but now the government changed that they have to be paid on monthly basis, 2,000 every month. And it has been paid to SACCOs. Yeah. For those who are on the payroll, they understand. So that's what I can say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Pamela. Yeah. Mulikuwa mnajua hiyo? Umesikia? Okay, mwa mnaandika. Okay, so in the interest of time, I'll give all of you 1 minute to tell us, going forward, what we need to do as CSOs and government to continue rescuing and achieving the SDGs. Okay, for, with, and by persons with disabilities, and you're parting short. In 1 minute, you summarize. Okay, so we start with Maggie.
Thank you. I'll talk about the SDG, the last one, 17, which talks about partnership. At the end of the day, we'll say that we've said all these, we've spoken all these, we have expertise, we said what we do, but it calls for us to come together. At the end of the day, we come together as different, the government, the CSOs, the community, caregivers, each and everyone in the community, we come together to ensure that we are giving the best for people living with disability. Because if we will keep on talking about all these things, we know we have the acts, we have the two or three acts, person living with disability, 2 or 3, Article 14 that talks about what they're entitled to. We have the Constitution, Article 54, that talks about what the PWDs are entitled to. We have policies that talks about what they're entitled to do. But at the end of the day, is there implementation? Is there, are we really coming together to do whatever we say? Are we walking the talk to ensure that these people are comfortable? The society is free from all the barriers that prevent them from thriving. So it calls for all of us to come together, to unite, and ensure that if you talk about education, they're getting education. We talk about good health, they're getting good health. Devices, the hearing aids, the crutches, the wheelchairs, are they getting them? It's just about, we have the Constitution that says that they're supposed to get it, and in real sense, they're not getting it. We need to come together and ensure that we're also developing policies that will support and ensure that the PWDs are also living like the rest of everyone. I'll talk about gender-based violence because that is my expertise. That is my expertise. persons living with disability are at risk of getting violated. They are violated sexually, physically, emotionally. With people within the family and people within the neighborhood. Do we have disability-friendly systems to ensure that these people are getting justice? Do we have a police station that is disability-friendly, the courts, the hospitals? We need also to look at that. And it will call all of us to come together and ensure that for us to say that we are ending violence against persons living with disability, because they are going through a lot of violence. We need to come together. Issues of mental health, issues of ensuring that they're getting justice, issues of safe shelter. We need to come together as partners to ensure that what we are talking is really what we are doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Partnerships. June.
Thank you. I think partnerships is important, but for me, I think in terms of moving forward, something else that we can really think about doing, I think of it twofold. We have to work with the systems. Saizi ile time ya kusema watu wa serikali na sisi. Hakuna hiyo time. So the idea is, how do we work with the systems to strengthen these systems to deliver inclusive services? I keep saying it is a controversial statement, but I think we can no longer afford to have special provisions for persons with disabilities. We have done it for the longest time. It is not efficient. It is not moving us fast enough. So what we need to do is to say and mean mainstreaming. Newsflash, there's no special budgets for persons with disabilities. Budget ya health ni ya health, ya education ni education, si ni kweli? And a lot of times that is how government machinery works. So the thing we can do to support SDGs now ni kusema, how do we start advocating for the mainstreaming of what we want? Zile budget ziko, hiyo ndio tupatiwe tufanye mambo ya inclusion. So for me, that is on the system side. What we think we need to do as persons with disabilities, let's advocate. And when we're advocating, my takeaway, or my, what is it called?
Parting shot.
My parting shot would be, start, be smart, be strategic. Start doing something. So whatever small thing it is. Be very smart in how you want to do it. Think of an example. I've just seen a few of our mentors and they've been through a lot of organizations, and that is working smart. Because if one is mentored and they get a job, can they go to school? Can they feed their children? Are those children healthy? That's how we need to start thinking about the SDGs. They're an ecosystem. One affects everyone, which is your one. When you're being strategic, you're thinking of that strategic thing. And when you're being smart, you're looking at who do I work with to move me faster. So I think that's how we'll actually achieve true inclusion.
Amazing. Thank you. Madam Pamela?
Yes, what I can add on this, especially for persons with disability, I'm just talking about what I have seen practically in my office day-to-day service. I can actually encourage the parents of these people living with a disability, because now, for example, a mother comes in my office, she has a child with a disability or with severe disability. Now, before I even handle the case, the mother starts weeping. I give her time to weep first. After she's through, then she explains. Ananiambia, madam, huyu mtoto nimeachiwa peke yangu, mume wangu alinitoroka. Now, let me ask you, parents who are here with people in the house, you are actually perpetrating these people. You are running away from your family. You are affecting them. If a husband runs away from a wife, unamwachia mtoto. In fact, I cannot mention, I know many of them here, I know, I can't mention. But anakuambia, aliniachia akaniambia kwetu, atuzai, walemafu. What is that now? That's why now I'm urging all of us, please accept this person. This person living with a disability did not apply to be born like that. It could have been you. And if someone ran away from you, how would you feel it yourself? Empathize yourself. Put yourself in the shoes of that person. And think about, try to go through what they go through. When you think like that, you will never run away from your spouse, you will never run away from your child. Some people go to an extent of abandoning the child because they are living with a disability. please, that is what I can urge us to do. That is what I can advise those families which are here.
Thank you.
I know some we have registered them. You know, I don't know what I can add, but please, 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 don't run away from these people simply because they are born with a disability. They did not apply to be born like that. It could have been you. Imagine like that, you will not run away from them. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Pamela.
Thank you. My parting shot is short. Let's not get into this field of disability because of the money. I've realized it's a multi-dollar business, and most of people get into it for money, not for the passion to assist people with disability. And two, let's use a multi-sectoral approach. Let's lift each other.
As Amani Kibera, in our programs, we are streaming inclusion because we are an inclusive organization. Our approach is sports and play, and we encourage parents, guardians, and the community as a whole to engage children who are living with any form of disability in play activities and also in sports. My parting shot, as per the SDGs, as an opportunity for people living with disabilities, let us localize the conversation and let us align our programs. Thank you.
Sawa sawa, mimi nitamalizia kwa mambo mawili ama matatu hivi. Na ningependa kusema hivi, nitaongea kwa Kiswahili. Nikisema ya kwamba jambo la kwanza, ya kwamba mimi na wewe, we are the agents that we will be used to achieve what we are talking about today. Ya kwamba mimi ni agent. Mimi kama Janet, wewe kama nani, ama wewe kama mtu ambaye anaishi na ulemavu, yuko na ulemavu, wewe kama the institution, wewe kama whatever NGO, CBO, you are the agent that will ensure ya kwamba we are promoting the well-being of persons with disability, we are promoting the issues inclusion. So, jua ya kwamba ukitoka hapa, wewe unafanya nini kama wewe, kama institution, kama organization, kama shule fulani, kama kanisa, kama msikiti, unafanya nini kuhakikisha ya kwamba mambo haya yanatimilika mwishowe. Ya kwamba mimi na wewe tuko na responsibility, tuko na jukumu kubwa, na so hatutaangalia tu vile mwingine pale alisema kwamba tutaangalia the government of Kenya, lakini nitajua mimi niko na jukumu ambalo lazima niangazie na nitilie msingi sana, ndiposa nihakikishe mambo haya ambayo tunaongelea, mambo ya afya, mambo ya elimu, na mambo hayo yote ya gender, violence, issues, peace, partnership and all that I am the co-responsibility. Ya kwamba niko na jukumu ambalo lazima niaone jinsi nitatilia mkazo kufuatilia na nitafanya nini ndiposa mambo hayo yaweze kutimilika, na ndiposa tuweze kuhusisha watu ambao wana ulemavu. Na jambo la mwisho ni kwamba ya kwamba tukitoka hapa, let's come out from the point where we really focus on ourselves so much, and focusing so much on ourselves, I mean ya kwamba, for example, organizations kama sisi, maybe Paulos, unapata ya kwamba wale clients maybe ambao wanakuja Paulos ndio wale pia wale wa organization nyingine na ile nyingine, ya kwamba in fact theme ya mwaka huu inatuambia nini? United in action. Ya kwamba wacha tuangazie sisi wote kukuja pamoja ndiposa tuweze kuachieve ile agenda. There is no need of me Paulos doing the same thing as Amani, as the other one and the other one, yet we would